Hello, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Nichi Bei Cafe. My name is Ryan, and I'm joined by your co-host,
Jay here. As always, this monthly livestream program is brought to you by the Nichi Bei Foundation and Nichi Bei News through the benevolence of the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation. If you enjoy what we're doing here at the cafe, please be sure to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button on YouTube for more content just like this. Also, if you want to be notified of new episodes or videos on YouTube, go ahead and hit that bell icon. And leave a like and comment down below if you have any suggestions for future episodes or if you just want to say hi.
For today's show, we will again be featuring stories celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month in the community, and as well as a special report from Utah on the memorial for James Wakasa. As you will come to see, we will be changing up our menu courses for this episode going forth in an effort to improve and try new things. We hope you will enjoy our new format.
For our pastry selection, we feature the comeback of our upcoming Soy and Tofu Festival. Please stay tuned for a recap of the fun, excitement, and sweets from our 2022 Soy and Tofu Festival, held on July 2nd of last year. For our salad selection, we treat you to the 2023 San Francisco Asian Pacific American Heritage Awards Honorees.
For our first chef special, we start off with the 80th anniversary memorial of a Japanese American violently killed at the Topaz concentration campsite.
Another chef special that we recommend is a story on the conception of a community-based program created by a local SF Jtown community organization. The program helps local artists connect not only with the community, but with each other.
For our dessert portion of the show, Namiko Chen of Just One Cookbook introduces a Nichi Bei staff favorite, Takoyaki. And lastly, we'll check out an origami model using a dollar bill, courtesy of Linda Mihara, and end the episode with tips of events in the local community.
So without further delay, let's start the cafe. For our pastry selection tonight, we begin a recap of our 2022 Soy and Tofu Festival, coming back again and stronger than ever on June 3rd, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the SF Japantown Peace Plaza. Join us in re-experiencing what the joy of soy is all about.
Getting to plan the festival was such a gratifying and rewarding experience, and we hope you can stop by the festival next month on June 3rd in the Jtown Peace Plaza. And many thanks to our producer Greg Valoria for that summary. For our salad tonight, we honor the 2023 Asian Pacific American Heritage Award honorees. Today we honor SF Japantown's own Japanese Cultural and Community Center of Northern California, celebrating 50 years, the Angel Island Immigration Station Foundation celebrating 40 years, and lastly, the Asian Pacific Fund celebrating 30 years. Please enjoy.
The APA Heritage Awards is a signature program of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
To recognize that we are a strong community because we of course represent our various culture, our communities, our families, and what we grew up with, but we become even stronger when we're able to build bridges and come together and to learn about one another, to respect, appreciate, and uplift one another.
We all come from different places, even within the API community, different cultures, different backgrounds. Like on the quilt, you see so many different patches. We may be different, but we are part of the whole. We hope that over the years, we'll continue to work together to make this a more perfect fabric, to make this a more perfect and beautiful quilt.
Every year, the APA Heritage Celebration Committee honors civic organizations that have achieved significant milestones in serving the community. This year's awardees are the Asian Pacific Fund.
Founded in 1993, Asian Pacific Fund has been one of the champions. The mission of the Asian Pacific Fund is to strengthen our community by increasing philanthropy and strengthening the nonprofit organizations that are our community's safety net. I'm so proud to say that over the past 30 years, we've given out hundreds of grants, 450 grants to nonprofit organizations, many of which over the past few years, just because it's been so difficult in our community and we have continued to be overlooked. I'm so proud to say that as the only Asian Pacific American focused community foundation here in the Bay Area, we've been here through thick and thin, and we're going to continue to be.
The Angel Island Immigration Station.
Because if you identify as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander, or as someone who's an immigrant or of immigrant heritage, or someone who stands in allyship or solidarity with our communities, Angel Island is a required pilgrimage. Because you see, for all immigrants, their descendants, and their families, Angel Island's a living landmark. A landmark that symbolizes diverse experiences of detention, of racism, and of exclusion, but also of hope and determination.
I think that one of the challenges that we have at the Angel Island Immigration Station is that many people are unfamiliar with the history and the significance of what Angel Island represents, not only just for the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community, but for our entire region, for our entire country. And so as we look forward to the remainder of our 40-year anniversary, what we're looking to do is to ensure that people understand this history. We'll be releasing a set of animated Asian Pacific Islander history videos that talk about not only the history of Angel Island, but how that history connects to other events in Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander history. And we're actually going to be celebrating our very first Family Day since the pandemic began 3 years ago. On Family Day, June 18th, Saturday, we're hoping to bring 500 to 1,000 people to come out to Angel Island to listen to musical performances, to speakers, engage in different activities that spark dialogue and conversation across people of all generations.
And the Japanese Cultural and Community Center of Northern California.
The center is celebrating our 50th anniversary this year, and the theme of our celebration is celebrating generations. And so the Nisei, their dream, as they were watching their homes and their businesses be demolished, their dream was to own and operate a community center in SF's Japantown. One where we could celebrate our Japanese cultural heritage, one where we could have families and friends gather, and one where we could run programming for all the kids and the elderly in our community. It feels so good to be able to say we're still here and we have a bright future ahead of us.
I enjoy working at the center and seeing the people every day, from seniors that come in to play social games and different things, from young kids playing basketball, and seeing all the different things that happen. So for me, I think it's remembering the past, but then also looking ahead to the future and ensuring that our center's there for 50 more years.
Thanks to our editor Max Nihei for that story and all the deserving 2023 honorees. Next, we dive into our chef specials. We introduce to you a story in remembrance of the violent death of James Hatsuaki Wakasa. Out for an evening walk with his dog, a tower sentry shot and killed Mr. Wakasa, sending the camp into an understandable uproar. To honor their slain fellow incarceree, the camp inmates built a memorial to honor Mr. Wakasa, only for camp officials to order it to be taken down. After so many years, the memorial was discovered at the Topaz incarceration site and embroiled a disagreement amongst the community and the local museum about its unearthing. However, both were forced to put down their grievances and work together to put on a great memorial service.
A set of solemn and respectful ceremonies permeated through the central Utah breeze April 22nd, underneath dotted clouds over the former Topaz concentration camp and the Topaz Museum in Delta, Utah. The peaceful ceremonies served as a contrast to the sudden and violent death of Japanese immigrant James Hatsuaki Wakasa, who was shot and killed near the fence of the former prison camp while walking his dog 80 years ago. And while remnants of bitter feelings regarding the manner in which a memorial stone was dug up in 2021 remain, for one weekend, peace and collaboration to remember the death was a charge of the day, as the Topaz Museum Board and Wakasa Memorial Committee collaborated on a series of events to mark the historic occasion. Yet the quandary remains, what will the museum ultimately do with the memorial stone? Some 2,000 people attended the memorial service for Wakasa in the camp in 1943. A memorial stone was erected by Wakasa's friends, but then ordered destroyed by government officials. All that remained of Wakasa's existence were a photo of the service and memories by camp survivors. But then a detailed map of the memorial's potential location was discovered by researcher Nancy Ukai at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. in 2015.
But I knew that it was important because it was so detailed. It was down to the inch, and there were drawings of sagebrush and floodlights, and of course the blood spot, and it was marked the guard tower. And so I put it away, but and didn't use it until 2020, when there were protests for Black Lives Matter, and I thought, let's write a story about this monument that wasn't allowed to exist, that was erased, that was demolished. I've been thinking that it was demolished.
Ukai wrote an article on the 50 Objects website that she manages.
And I put the map in thinking that it was demolished, not knowing that archaeologists would take that diagram and with their 100-yard tape find it.
But it turned out that instead of destroying the memorial, it was buried in the desert. After Ukai's discovery, Jeff Burton and Mary Farrell, two vacationing archaeologists in the middle of the COVID pandemic in 2020, discovered the large stone that the administration had ordered destroyed, buried in the desert. The controversy surrounded the Delta, Utah-based museum's excavation of the thought-to-be-lost memorial to Wakasa. an Issei senior who was shot and killed by a guard in the Topaz, Central Utah concentration camp on April 11, 1943. After the archaeologists published their findings on the Japanese American National Museum's Discovered Nikkei website with detailed information on the stone's location, the Topaz Museum Board had the stone dug up on July 27, 2021 and transported to the museum. Same people could have tracked down the monument and vandalized it. The excavation, however, was conducted without any Japanese Americans or archaeologists present, and the removal was conducted by a contractor hired to clear trash from a separate part of the former concentration camp, leading to outrage from descendants. Repeated apologies, however, could not prevent shouting matches at community meetings called by the Topaz Museum Board in the Bay Area, where a number of activists formed the Wakasa Memorial Committee. The longtime head of the Topaz Museum, Jane Beckwith, would leave her position, and a new group formed to mediate the discussion with a focus on preserving the Wakasa Memorial Stone. The Wakasa Memorial Committee called for mediation over the issue, and the National Park Service and Utah State Historic Preservation Office stepped in with former Utah State Senator Janie Iwamoto. A new committee, referred to as the 333 Committee due to its equal representation of the Topaz Museum Board, the Wakasa Memorial Committee, and other neutral parties, was formed. And while the controversy at times seemed bitter, including letters back and forth in the Japanese American press, the group that formed seemed to have a quick resolve.
But it really felt like a good mix of all the parties, so everyone had a place that they could communicate their concerns, their issues, and very quickly, like even the first meeting, we all reached consensus on the central issue. All groups care about the story of James Wakasa, and all groups cared about adequately preserving the stone itself and the site. And so I'm like, from that, all the commentary dissipated, right? We were all joined together on the common goal.
According to Merritt, the group has been meeting every 2 to 3 weeks over an 8-month span.
And so for 8 months we've been meeting, and it's been very much a collegial, collaborative communication, which I felt has been really powerful.
There was also praise for the Topaz Museum leadership for having the foresight to purchase almost all of the former concentration camp land and for being stewards of the site through the museum.
It's been a great gem here, in the state. Our state has recognized the Topaz Museum and Topaz and always supported it.
Jane is a fixture. She is a fire plug that made everything happen in Delta because she does have those deep roots in the community, which is always so important when you're working in a rural community, is you need to have that local buy-in or else it's never going to really get traction. And so Jane has been that steady hand, that measured force for decades. And I cannot say enough nice things about Jane and the work she's done. Because I think without her role early on in the 80s, we would have lost large chunks of Topaz, and we wouldn't have the museum today without her passion and drive. Now that being said, she's also got a big coalition of people that support, and folks that view the museum as just an outreach of their story. And so I think that there's been a great collaborative from the 80s of building a group of stakeholders that are going to move the mission.
Both Merritt and John Lambert, the masonry expert hired by the Topaz Museum to help preserve the stone, said the excavation of the stone was not ideal. However, they indicated that it could have been worse.
Archaeologists, it wasn't done the way we would do it. But for the parties that were involved in its removal, they were fairly careful. They were doing fairly decent work, but they're just not trained archaeologists. And so, obviously, I would have loved to have done more controlled work because I think we could have answered more questions. But I also don't think that it's all been destroyed either.
How did you?
Anytime you move a stone that's 4.5 feet long, 2 feet high, 2.5 feet wide, that only the top 2 to 4 inches are visible, and you try to unearth that and you don't know exactly what its sizes and dimensions and characteristics are, it's extraordinarily challenging. I'm just grateful that it was done. It's now in a secure place. It's safe from vandalism, and it's safe from the elements. It's no longer having to bear all the trauma that the stone bears from the environmental and atmospheric forces that act upon it. And so it's in a great spot now, and that's what's most important to me.
Lambert says he feels strongly that the stone should be housed indoors rather than outdoors.
If there's some way that it could be protected from all the perils that I've described, perhaps, but I'm saying that I feel that it ought to be in an interior environment where we know that it's going to be safe. Topaz is a remote place. You know, it's hard to keep an eye on it.
Merritt agrees in theory.
End goal of the community is to preserve the stone for perpetuity. Outside is the worst possible thing for us to do to that stone, whether it's in the museum courtyard or back at the site.
On April 22, 2023, the events brought a sense of healing to those who attended in honor of the legacy of Wakasa, an Issei bachelor with no known family. At the original site, there were rituals by both Japanese Americans and Native American spiritual leaders, and the placing of paper flowers on a makeshift shrine. Later, back at the Topaz Museum in the nearby town of Delta, Utah, attendees had the opportunity to physically touch the stone.
That memorial service where we could touch the stone was it was both sad and I don't know, like you know, reality touching back into the past, to be able to touch something that had been built in memory of his death at that time. It's a very special moment.
Saying is that the unresolved issues of Topaz reverberated through the generations, and many people will call that generational trauma. And this weekend is a way of addressing that with people, with descendants who were not present in Topaz, but emotionally felt the weight of it, the injustice of Wakasa's death. But it is also about coming together as a community, speaking with our fellow Topaz families.
While various factions in the community, who only months ago seemed to be a gulf apart, came together in remarkable unity to remember the killing of Wakasa, the elephant in the room remains: the actual future of the memorial stone. Tamaki Dion suggests that it should not be moved out of state.
Been suggesting that perhaps the stone would move out of Utah, for example, and I don't feel that's appropriate, because I believe that the stone belongs to the site, belongs to the history of Topaz. It strikes me a little bit like I visited the British Museum at one time and was astounded at the collection of Egyptian art and Assyrian art. It was fantastic, but I don't think Egyptian art really belongs in Britain. You know, it is a similar.
Masako Takahashi of the Wakasa Memorial Committee, a former Topaz incarceree, suggested that the National Park Service take over stewardship of the former Topaz concentration camp site. She said, quote, "They could build a visitor center surrounding the site of Wakasa's murder, where the memorial stone could be returned and preserved, to be properly remembered, to educate, and be honored at the very place he was senselessly killed out walking his dog," end quote.
I love that idea. I feel like it would only enrich the storytelling and would really make a case for having the monument there at the site. An interpretive center in many ways is different from a museum that's removed from the site. So I could see pilgrimage there, more people engaged in learning about it. So yeah, I think that would be that is a great idea, and hope that NPS will consider that.
As frank discussion surfaces, Ina sees hope for the future.
I feel like this being able to have this ceremony by being respectful of the differences. I don't know that the two groups will ever, come together and agree on how to narrate the existence or the removal of the stone. But I always feel like conversation, however opposing positions people have, at least we're not burying things anymore. You know, we are surfacing things, and there are always going to be difference of opinions. So I think there's work to be done. I think this has been a really, in many ways, a very healing experience. It has brought people together from Topaz, from the Bay Area, to remember and really to honor this life that was ended unnecessarily.
Become a member of the Nichi Bei Foundation, and you'll receive a host of benefits that keep you connected to the Japanese American community. Throughout the year, you'll receive 28 editions of the Nichi Bei News, the leading Japanese American community newspaper, including special editions such as the New Year's edition featuring our winter book review, the Japanese Culture and Cherry Blossom Festivals Guide, and the Obon and Summer Festivals Guide. And you can receive these in print, digital, or both formats. Members also receive a free San Francisco Japantown map and directory, a free wall calendar, and discounts to Nichi Bei events. You'll be notified about special educational events such as Films of Remembrance, the Nikkei Angel Island Pilgrimage, the Wakamatsu Colony Pilgrimage, and the Hiroshima Nagasaki Atomic Bomb Commemoration. You'll hear about fundraising events such as the Northern California Soy and Tofu Festival, the Nichi Bei Day of Giving, and special events with the NBA's Sacramento Kings, and our Nichi Bei Day with the A's. You'll also be notified about our monthly live stream program on YouTube and Facebook, the Nichi Bei Cafe. Nichi Bei members also receive a very special new edition of the Nikkei Connections Japanese American Community Resource Guide. Your guide to Japanese America, Nikkei Connections, is packed with valuable resources from across the country, including a guide to hundreds of nonprofit organizations, Japantown maps and directories, historic destinations relevant to the Japanese American experience, a map of wartime incarceration sites, Japanese public gardens, cultural arts classes, cultural festivals, cultural and community centers, Japanese language schools and summer cultural programs, senior centers, Japanese grocery markets, and churches and religious organizations. The Nikkei Connections Japanese American Community Resource Guide was funded by a generous grant from the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation. Today's Nichi Bei, evolving with the times. Become a Nichi Bei Foundation member or give a membership as a gift to someone you care about. Stay in the know through the Nichi Bei News and a host of events and programs. Join us in our mission to keep our community connected, informed, and empowered.
Thanks to Kenji and Greg, who traveled all the way out to Utah to cover that story.
On to our next Chef Special. We have a fresh story from our staff writer, Derek Tejada, and our producer, Greg Valoria, on the heart of Japantown. What is the heart of Japantown? Created by the Japantown Community Benefit District, the Heart of Japantown was a fund to help mobilize support for the SF Japantown community groups, cultural institutions, and small businesses.
Community is a hard thing to define, but by finding a community's heart, one could start to understand its meaning. The Heart of Jtown pop-up shop started as a resiliency fund during the pandemic, funding artists and businesses in the San Francisco Japantown community with masks and especially creative work. Japantown Community Benefit District Executive Director and credited with the Heart of Jtown idea, Grace Horakiri, explains its origin.
So the Heart of Jtown, the name started off, it started off with the Resiliency Fund. Thinking about how can I describe, the purpose or the focus or the meaning of having people donate towards a fund to help our small business. I think everything starts with the heart of something. And so the Heart of Jtown just kind of popped into my head. And, Brandon and Melissa said, oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay, let's do it. So that's how it started. I think the inspiration of the Heart of Jtown pop-up really came out of, I think, the need to have a space for our artists. And working for the JCBD, we were very fortunate to do various projects, whether it was the street lamp banner or the mural project, to bring in, really local artists to kind of not only show what is unique about Japantown, but really show the city and show the world that we have so much creativity in our neighborhood. Well, during the pandemic, there was a lot of vacancies, the vacant storefronts in Japantown. And, the community as a whole, we were all talking about, how we can fill it up. But I think the CBD had really the hindsight and the ability, I guess, to really look at the vacant storefront, see the need, and also look at Japantown to see what was missing too. So again, going back to, we needed a place where the artists can gather, where they can really showcase their work.
Today, the Heart of Jtown pop-up shop serves as a way for artists to develop unique San Francisco Japantown cultural items developed by their artistic creative fuel. Nate Tan, an artist born in his teenage years by writing graffiti, as his website states, eventually evolved into a graphics designer and small business owner designing fashion. Nate explains the importance of the Heart of Jtown pop-up shop to businesses in this time.
Being in business this amount of time, I've seen it go in waves. And definitely the pandemic put me back into the vibe of like 2009, 10, 11, where it was really tough in business. And I survived that. So this time around, I remember having some fear, of course, especially for my friends that own businesses, but I knew we'd all come out of it somehow for the better. So now the business climate is way different post-pandemic. So I feel like the JCBD is helping these businesses and putting us in touch with businesses that we can really affect in a local community way to get attention back to here, to Japantown.
Brendan Oshima, a community artist and apparel designer, explains how the Heart of Jtown program has been a great experience, especially during the pandemic, and how there is a sense of camaraderie amongst fellow community artists.
It was rough before the pandemic, but making all these connections, working with the JCBD and meeting these other artists and kind of doing a lot of collabs, things have picked up, I'd say, a lot lately. Every week is a different person coming up to you for like a new project or a new business idea or some kind of team up or something. So it's been good. The transition was really easy. I think in the beginning we were all a little like up in the air. We didn't really know what we were going to get into, but the JCBD and the other artists really works really well together. So things were kind of effortlessly put into place, and we were fairly comfortable right off the bat, and it's been very helpful business-wise and just socializing-wise. Good. I usually try to be here as much as possible when it's open, so I like to interact with the customers and hear what they have to say, and so far it's been nothing but good. They like seeing community people and locals trying to make it work in San Francisco, and so I guess it's inspiring in some sorts, and familiar faces is great to see, trying to have a business in San Francisco and Japantown.
like anything that, well, especially what I do, whether it's at the CBD or the Nihonmachi Street Fair, to find great people, to find good people to be part of a team is so crucial. If you don't bring together good people, it ain't gonna work.
What Grace has found is not only great people, but great artists. You can find Nate and Brendan and other artists at the Heart of Jtown pop-up shop, which is located on the first floor of the Kinokuniya Mall in San Francisco's Japantown. They are open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and will continue through June 4th. This is Greg Valoria for Derek Tahara for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Compliments to the chef on our delicious specials tonight.
Heartwarming as well. Our community artists really have deep love for the community. Thanks to Derek and to Greg for that story.
Next up is our dessert portion of the show. Namiko Chen of Just One Cookbook introduces a Nichi Bei staff favorite, takoyaki. If you follow our Instagram feed or Facebook page, we were introduced to Takoyaki Fridays recently by one of our interns. We hope you can enjoy takoyaki as a social dinner or lunch activity in your home or office. Itadakimasu.
Konnichiwa, it's Nami from Just One Cookbook. Have you been to Osaka? When you are there are two popular regional dishes you should try, okonomiyaki and takoyaki. I put the video link up here for my okonomiyaki recipe, and today I will show you how to make takoyaki, which sometimes is called octopus balls. Takoyaki is a ball-shaped dough with pieces of octopus inside. It requires some practice and patience to make these at home. Usually, Mr. JOC make these for our family, but I will give it a try this time. Before we start, if you are new to my channel, hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss my new videos. Alright, let's get started. I hope you like my takoyaki recipe and try it out for yourself. Hit that like button if you like this video. If you don't like octopus, what other ingredients would you put inside this dough instead? If you have a good suggestion, please share your idea in the comments below. Before you go, please follow me on social links Just One Cookbook. If you try my recipe, don't forget to snap a picture and share it on Instagram with hashtag Just One Cookbook. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. またね!
Many thanks to Namiko for that recipe. Man, that skewer action is hard to get going.
As a novice, keep practicing and you won't be half as bad as Brian is.
Okay, well, anyway.
For our snap section, our SF Japantown Origami Ambassador, Linda Mihara, shows you how to make an origami shirt with a dollar bill. Happy folding!
Hi, I'm Linda Mihara, and I do a column for the Nichi Bei News called Origami Now. And in this episode, I'm going to show you a really cool dollar bill model, and it's the dollar bill shirt. This is great to do when you're at a restaurant, leave as partial tip, and all you need is a single dollar. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm starting with an enlargement so that you can see the folds. I think it's going to be easier for you to follow along when you see this larger bill. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. Now you'll see that my copy does not have the backside printed, but that's okay. We just want to have a fold that goes right through the middle lengthwise like this, and unfold. And then now, let's turn it over to the other side, and we're going to bring these edges to meet that center crease line that we've created. So just going to bring it up to that fold, right like this. You can rotate it if you want, and then bring the other edge up to meet that, like this. And when you fold dollars, you do need to give it a good strong crease. Use your fingernail, or if you had a restaurant, grab a spoon, and you could use a spoon to kind of give it a nice strong crease on the end there. So now that we folded the edges to the center like this, let's turn it over to the other side, and let's go ahead and rotate it so that we're looking at one of the short ends. You see this border here? We're just going to fold it down a little bit. This is going to create the collar of the shirt. So we're going to fold that down. And some bills have a wider border and some is more narrow. This one happens to be very narrow, so you do get a little bit of the other color here, but that's fine. It'll look just fine as the collar. So now that you have that, let's turn it over to the other side. So let's flip it over. So now we're looking at the seam here. And what we want to do is on the same end that we folded the collar, we're going to take this point and bring it to meet the center, but we're going to make a long triangle. It's going to come down at an angle. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll do one side so you can see what we're doing here. So this is what you want. You want it to kind of extend down like this, but you want the corner of the collar to meet the center right here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side to match that. This is going to complete the collar, which is pretty cool. So this is what it should look like. So two long darts, and you've got the collar that's up there on the top. So now let's take the bottom edge here, and we want to break this up into thirds. And it's the thirds from the bottom of the collar. And this is approximate, so I'm going to just kind of bring it up right about here. That to me looks like a little bit about the third. And then you're just going to roll it up again. And then this should meet just cover the bottom part of the collar, because this is going to tuck underneath when we're done. So this is what you should have, and you've got George looking either way depending on which side you started with. Give it a good strong crease, and then we want to unfold this like this. So this bottom crease here is going to be important. This is what we're going to work with now. What we want to do is change the direction of this crease by pinching it, and this is what it's going to look like. So you already have the crease done, and you just kind of pinch it like this, and you keep pinching it, and what you want to do, this is going to create the sleeve, so it's got to come out from the body of the shirt, And by doing this, you're going to pinch it. As you bring the bottom of the shirt forward, so this comes out, and then you flatten this, and so then now you have the shirt there. So you have to pull it out. Let's do that for the other side. So let's open this up. We want to reach inside. We want to reverse the direction by pinching it. That's going to create that sleeve there. And you kind of keep pulling it out, and then you close this up just like that. So now you've got your sleeve, your two sleeves. And then just go ahead and give it a nice flatness by just running your finger around the whole edge and making sure that everything's nice and flat like this. So now there's just only one more step, and that's to take the bottom edge here and tuck it under the collar. So let's go ahead and refold it and slip it under the edge of the collar, just like that. And then flatten it. You might have to recrease this bottom here if you're off by a little bit, and that's fine. And that is your simple dollar bill shirt. Enjoy. For more great videos, check out our YouTube channel, Papertree SF, as well as the Nichi Bei Foundation YouTube channel for other great videos. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy folding.
Thanks, Linda, for that quick lesson. The second I have that much money to my name, I'm giving that a try for sure.
Ryan, you're not supposed to ask for a raise on the live stream.
Well,
Next up, we will present a calendar of upcoming events for the next couple of months. But first, we'd like to thank everybody for continuing to support our YouTube channel. The growth has been great, and we really appreciate all of our new subscribers. Please tell your friends and family to subscribe so that they don't miss a single episode of our program, as well as video segments from the show and other special videos in between.
Time for tonight's tips, which will include our community calendar with highlights of events around the US and a promotional video for our upcoming Soy and Tofu Festival. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us for our 4th episode of Season 2. If you are visiting the Japantown area sometime soon, don't forget that our Soy and Tofu Festival is coming up on June 3rd, 2023, and we hope to see you all there. And everyone say thank you to Jay for hosting with me tonight, and we hope to see you in future episodes of the cafe as well.
Thank you, Ryan. I really enjoyed seeing everybody and the cafe stories today.
Most def. We hope that you enjoyed our show today and wish you and your family a great rest of May. As always, we'd like to give another huge thanks to the Henry and Tomoya Takahashi Charitable Foundation for their generous support of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We greatly appreciate our collaboration with you in finding new ways to engage our Nikkei community. In this episode, we celebrated stories for the 2023 Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and we hope that you took something away from the cafe menu today.
Thanks again for joining us at the Nichi Bei Cafe.
All right.